Hello, hello. Thanks so much for tuning in. I thought I will answer a question today or delve more into how to get jingles done on a budget. So quite often when you start in your own new venture, it could be a podcast, it could be an online radio or anything in between really, and you find yourself needing jingles, but you also find yourself having a rather large hole in your wallet and you don't quite know how to fill it. So you would like to find a solution on the budget for jingles. So obviously a few different ways you can approach this. Number one is you make them yourself. If you have capability of producing a decent audio, then why not to give it a try? If you have a decent microphone at home, you can get maybe one of your friends with a better voice to record some, and then you can have some fun in post-production. Obviously, it's not going to be the most amazing outcome, especially if you haven't got good post-production knowledge yourself, but it certainly could tie you over in the time until you can afford to have something done professionally. So number two, and by the way, I don't really fully recommend neither one or number two. What I would suggest doing instead is maybe waiting until you have a little bit of budget and starting with smaller pieces. So, you don't have to have a full package of 10 or 20 different jingles straight away. Why not start with just one, but have it done really well? Because it does actually show that you have a professional broadcaster, be it podcast or radio station, radio show, and it doesn't really give false expectations. So you want to set good expectations from the start to your listeners, and you want to show them that you can, that's what the show is about. So I think certainly put a professionalism over everything else, and if you can't start with a single jingle, then that's fine. Maybe you can get a nice music bed and just cut that a little bit to have a little bit of a transition. There are also many libraries online where you can just purchase a single sound effect for like $2 or so. So it's definitely, I would personally suggest going with that instead of option number one or two that I'm about to give you. So number one is doing it yourself. As I say, if you have a half decent equipment, somebody who can record it nicely and you think you can do a good enough job with that, then go for that. Number two, there are websites such as Fiverr full of people who are willing to record for pennies and post-produce for pennies. Now, the only word of caution I would give there is it is full of people who are also starting out. So you may not get a professional jingle as such because they are not professionals. So you could end up spending that Fiverr 2, 3, 4, 5 times even in some cases before you actually get a good enough outcome. So effectively you will spend the same amount of money you would have on a professional production. Another option that is worth to consider and look out for as well is some jingle companies, and we do it by the way here at Music Radio Creative, is we will pre-produce packages that will have maybe 10 or 12 different elements and can be tagged with your name at the end. So for example, for DJs, we have in the mixed DJ packages. So we will get 12 or 16 different voice artists to record in the mix. We will post-produce it differently, those 12, 16 times. And then you can have your name recorded and tagged at the end of each. So it sounds like you have 16 different DJ drops, but effectively it's just one recording that we have managed to cleverly edit and put together to sound like 16 different drops. So options like that can be very cost effective. And we do, for example, also have Christmas jingle packages. So we have a lot of different packages, that have different scripts. And again, the same thing, you can either have your name tagged or you can just have them generic. That's fine too. So that's certainly a good way to get started on a professional level without a professional budget. It definitely saves a ton of money that way and enables you to have a good taste of what good production could sound like. So that's it really. So you have those options once again very clearly. So one, do it yourself. Two, go to a budget website such as Fiverr. As I said, number one and two, I don't really recommend. I would far rather you do number 3, and that is wait until you do have a budget. And number 4, it is to look out for companies that do pre-produced packages that will enable you to tag your name into really nice, well-produced scripts, or even if they could be generic and, you could go with that if they suit your show, that's great. So you really have 4 good options here. I think that there is an opportunity for everyone to have a decently produced jingle or some good form of imaging the branding on their show or a podcast. If you only look for one, there is one out there for you. As for a quick audio, a unicorn update, I have been very busy here. So we've had a lot to get through here as Black Friday, followed by Christmas, and then the New Year is coming. So obviously quite a lot happening, but I have been sneaking in audio production throughout my days. Quite a lot of it has been devoted to post-production of the vocal, just a dry recorded vocal. I'm also starting to delve into how the audiobooks are actually post-produced, so that's something that I'm learning here inside for the processes, because I want us to grow in the audio production space as well. So I'm kind of delving into that a little bit too. So thanks so much for tuning in. I appreciate it very much, and I look forward to being back soon.